Shalom, 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 Yasha'Allah. It's your boy, Brother Shammah Allah, back at you with another quick edifying video. Today's lesson is going to be called, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi. All right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom. Another mighty shalom, all you Akim out there laboring on the highways and on the hedges and on the unicorn, which is this internet, pushing this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth to the four corners of the earth in these last days. A mighty shalom to you all as well. All right, just a little quick lesson. It's just an article from the Associated Press, right? Like I said, the title is going to be, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. This is from the Associated Press. It says, Israel attacks Iran's capital with explosions booming across Tehran. All right, it says, you see there's some aftermath of the situation, right, which hit early Friday. So it says, Israel attacked Iran's capital early Friday in strikes that targeted the country's nuclear program and raised the potential for an all-out war between the two bitter Middle East adversaries. It appears to be the most significant attack in Iran has faced since its 1980s war with Iraq. It says multiple sites around the country were hit, including Iran's main nuclear enrichment facility, where black smoke could be seen rising up into the air. It says the leader of Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, Hussein Salami, was confirmed dead. Iranian state television reported a development that would be a body blow to Tehran's governing theocracy and the immediate escalation of the nation's long simmering conflict. Top military, it says in Washington, the Trump administration, which had cautioned Israel against an attack during continued negotiations over Iran's nuclear enrichment program, said that it had not been involved and warned against any retaliation targeting U.S. interests or personnel. Israeli leaders cast the preemptive assault as a fight for the nation's survival that was necessary to head off an imminent threat that Iran would build nuclear bombs, though it remains unclear how close the country is to achieving that or whether Iran had actually been planning a strike. It said it could be a year, it could be within a few months. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said as he vowed to pursue the attack for as long as necessary to remove this threat. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival, he said. Khamenei issued a statement carried by the state-run Iranian news. It says agency has said confirmed that the top military officials and scientists have been deleted in the attack. Israel opened its wicked and blood-stained hand to a crime in our beloved country, revealing its malicious nature more than ever by striking residential centers, Khamenei said. The potential for an attack had been apparent for weeks as agents built over Iran's nuclear program. All right. President Donald Trump on Thursday said he did not believe an attack was imminent, but also acknowledged that it could be very well happen As tensions rose, the U.S. pulled some diplomats from Iraq's capital and offered voluntary evacuations for the families of U.S. troops in the Middle East. Once the attacks were underway, the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem issued alert telling American government workers and their families to shelter in place until further notice. It says U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Israel took a unilateral action against Iran and that Israel advised the U.S. that it believed the strikes were necessary for its self-defense. It says we are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region, Rubio said in a statement released by the White House. Trump is scheduled to attend a meeting for his National Security Council on Friday in the White House Situation Room, where he is expected to discuss the conflict with top advisors. It is not clear if he plans to make public remarks on the strike. It says it is essential to listen to the instructions from the Home Front Command and authorities to stay in protected areas, he said in a statement. As the explosions in Tehran started, Trump was on the lawn of the White House mingling with members of Congress. It was unclear if he had been informed, but the president continued shaking hands and posing for pictures for several minutes. Trump earlier said he urged Netanyahu to hold off on any action while the administration negotiated with Iran over nuclear enrichment. As long as I think there is a chance for an agreement, I don't want them going in because I think it would blow it, Trump told reporters. All right. So listen, and, brothers has been speaking on this, I was watching a brother's live, maybe just a few hours ago, right? And he was saying, any second, right, Israel could be striking Iran. And sure enough, it did, right? And now think about this. As you read the article, they keep acting like the U.S. didn't know. Hey, the U.S. knew, right? That's why it was pulling its people. It was telling people to get out of the, take cover, take this. Listen, but ultimately, this is all, prophesied by Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Okay? And as watchmen, right, we show and we warn the people, right, of the things that are coming. All right. I just want to get a couple of scriptures, right? While Jake is, running around here just doing what the hell they want to do, right? You got all hell getting ready to break loose, man. Right? Just like I've been saying. All right. But Jake don't care, right? Jake is on a whole nother, Jake is ready for, damn 4th of July right now. Right? That's what he's getting ready for. All right. Let's go to Habakkuk, right? Chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. It says, and will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Okay. In the NLT, it says, I will climb up to my watchtower and stand at my point, and stand at my guard post. There I will wait to see what Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi says and how he will answer my complaint. All right. And, I know like other brothers, man, we ready for this stuff to start popping off, right? And Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is making moves. All right. While everybody is slumbering and sleeping, right? Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is moving the pieces around. Okay. Let's see. Let's go to this. See, 2nd Esdras chapter 16, and let's jump down. Right. Let's see. 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verse 35. It says, "Hear now these things, and understand them, ye servants of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Behold the word of Yahawah Bahasham El Shai, receive it, believe it. It says, believe not in the gods in whom Yahawah Bahasham El Shai spake. Okay, everybody putting they trust in all this other stuff, right? You need to believe the words that Yahawah Bahasham El Shai is speaking, all right? And he's prophesied these words long ago, okay? We go to verse number 15, or 2 Ezra 15, verse 1. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahawah Bahasham El Shai, and I will cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Okay? And, one of those prophecies, right, that's in here is about Israel, right, leading Babylon, out into war. Okay, let's get this. Jeremiah 50, and let's go to verse number 45, I believe. Yep, this is Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse number 45. It says, therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahawah Bahasham El Shai, that he had taken against Babylon, and his purpose, that he had purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Okay? And that least of the flock is talking about Israel. Okay? Matter of fact, let me see something. I was watching a brother's video, and he was going into the word lease.
Strong's H 6810. Saith. Saith. Second entry. Saor. Saor. Third entry. Sair. Sair.
Okay. And when you look at it, you see little, insignificant, young, right? Little, insignificant, mean, young, younger, youngest, right? Now look at this part. I don't know if this has anything, but it says reference 1948, right? And that's the 48ers, right? Those 1948ers, right? They're the youngest, all right, of, the Edomites, right? The least or the youngest shall bring them out, okay? And the brother was going into there, right? So I wanted to look that up, call out Yahawah Bahasham El Shai, all right? So let's go back to it. So it says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Okay, because guess what? Babylon, right, or aka America, their ally is Israel. Okay, and Israel is just doing what they want to do. All right, it's like your youngest brother just he going out to go fight and go sock somebody in the face. Now you got to go fight, right? Now you got to go jump in. All right, and that's they're gonna draw Babylon out. All right, by their own actions, and we see it, right? He just he does what he wants to do, right? And then I was watching talk about Netanyahu, because he got on and did a whole little speech or whatever, try to reference Bible, the whole nine. But this is what's prophesied to happen. Okay, and we're out here, to try to warn the people. All right, that hey, matter of fact, let's get this real quick. First Thessalonians 5 and verse number 3. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Okay. In the scriptures also, when you go to 2 Ezra 16, where we were just at, Second Ezra 16, this is how this has been, right? It's been like an off and on, back and forth kind of war, right? Retaliation or whatever's going on. All right, Second Ezra chapter 16, verse 37, it says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack." It says, "As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth pain, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side." All right, because hey, the world is preparing for World War, right? The third woe, right? What does it say? The second woe, uh, the second woe has passed. Behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, Revelation 11. Okay, so in understanding that, right, and you see, they just had a little spat, back and forth. I believe they said October. Okay, and then here we are, right? In a shorter span, it's coming, right? And these things are getting quicker and quicker. Okay, they wanted to do their little peace little thing, and guess what? Nope, sudden destruction. Okay, this is what's going to be going on. All right, like this is going to become the norm. Like the scriptures talk about, like these are like contractions. Okay, so things are going to happen, right? And it's going to come quicker and quicker and quicker, right? Like a woman in travail. Okay, when a woman is about to give birth, right, her contractions get closer and closer. Okay, until ultimately, boom, the baby is delivered. Okay, and in this point will be destruction. All right, so we know that first the MOTB has to be mandatory implementation before those ICBM missiles with those nuclear warheads, before those really start flying, right? You got to make sure. Okay, but let's go back, Salakia. I'm gonna go back to Ezekiel, right? Because it's our job to warn the people, right? And that's all we've been doing. Okay, prophesying and showing. Okay, so you can't say you didn't know, right? Ezekiel chapter 3, and let's start at verse number 10. It says, "Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee, receive in thy heart, and hear in thine ears, and go to them of the captivity, unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, Thus saith Yahawah Bahasham thy power, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear." Okay, and that's why we continue to do these lessons, right? To continue to warn you, right, about what the MOTB, from Jacob's trouble, right? The third woe, right, or the third world's war. All right, all this stuff is right at the door. Okay, and just things like this, help, like the birth pains. Okay, let's jump down. It says, verse 17, it says, "Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me." Okay, and just like Habakkuk, right? You're gonna stand on your watchtower, right? And that's what we should be doing. So as we see these things, we should be warning the people, okay, of the imminent danger. Okay, so it says, verse 18, "When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest not warning, nor speaketh to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. Okay, so we continue to watch, to warn. Okay, we know that, most of the Jake, 2/3 of them here in Babylon, they're not gonna, they could care less, and they're not gonna be worried about it, right? But we continue, right, to whether they hear or whether they forbear. Okay, at the end of the day, all right, and Jake, their whole mentality is, well, this ain't affecting me, okay, but soon enough, like who was your boy, Zelensky said, hey, you have a body of water. You're good right now because you got a body of water. Hey, but soon enough, it's going to come and touch you, right? And guess what? Iran, right? Which is Persia in the Bible. And you have Gog, Magog, right? Talking about Russia, right? You have them, right? Who are going to come out, who are going to be, shooting those arrows at this place along with their allies. All right, to destroy Babylon, right? AKA America, with what? Those ICBM missiles, with the nuclear warheads. They can try to stop it, right? But it's not gonna stop what's been prophesied. Okay, and they're gonna destroy, Babylon the Great, and also Jerusalem, right? Or Israel. But Israel is gonna be unlike Babylon, right? Which is gonna be completely destroyed and become desolate, right? Israel is going to be destroyed, but it's going to be rebuilt. Okay, so we're out here. We're trying to warn y'all. Hey, it's time to seek Yahawah Bahasham, turn from your wicked ways, right? We'll just say repent, therefore, and be converted. All right, hey, because the Lord is getting ready to. He's already started to visit this place, and he's coming to bring his judgment and his anger, his full anger, all right, upon this place. All right, so you've been warned. All right, so I just want to do this lesson. Lord's will, this is edifying. Right, with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, call Halal Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the elect of the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the 144,000 men, right? Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who have ruled well to the spirit. Another mighty shalom to the rest of the elect out there, man. Stay diligent, stay focused, keep watching, all right? Continue to pray, all right? Let this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding be your stability in these times, right? Occupy and covet to prophesy, all right? And with that, I'll say shalom.